Making sure it's working. Alright, this is going to be a bit different because someone asked me what my actual builds are in PvP, so I'm going to quickly go through and show all my builds, then stop the video, and then hopefully do the PvP for today, without having to, do too much. But it is pretty late, so I may just show the builds then go to sleep. Start with NG, which is a bit different from the norm, I think, because most turret NGs, I think, go full tank, where I'm damage turrets. Works great. I'll explain once I get to the actual lobby. Oh, NG winner, NG again. It's always NG. I'll have time to do that. Let me quickly check when the Shadow Behemoth is spawning. Yeah, an hour. I ain't gonna be able to get that before I go to sleep. Whatever, okay. It's the wrong button. This is my NG build for PvP. As I said, I'm damaged, so I use the Eagle rune for the extra damage versus people less than 50% health. It doesn't seem like that much, but I don't think this affects turrets, but because I crit so often with my rifle, and I use this blunderbuss a lot, 6% on top of 1450 to 65 is quite a bit, and then just Berserker Amulet, because I'm going damage and the health really helps. Default rifle, doesn't really matter what you use. This is just the one I have. Critical chance and damage, because as I said, I'm going damage. These are my masteries. I don't know if they're called that. My traits? Sorry, I've been playing too much other games. Full inventions to get the rifled turret barrels. Then auto tool installation, which unfortunately this means I'm slow because I don't have the power shoes. But trust me, this really helps, especially when you do what I do whenever I can, which is leave your turrets at one point and then you go and defend another point. So they can take some light damage but get back up to full pretty quick. And then of course metal plating. Then 5 in firearms. Because of that. Because bleed is applied all the time by pretty much all classes. I can do it too. And I bleed on critical hits. I think it's that one, yeah. So it's good to get just a little extra damage, which plus on top of the Eagle is an extra 11% damage. That's pretty damn good. Then I rifle mod because I'm using a rifle all the time. If I was using pistols, I'd probably use coated bullets because piercing shots with the number 2 on pistols, I think, is the rapid fire poison shots. Those are really good. And then hair trigger because I want to do this more often. I originally used to have 4 in explosives and firearms, but the incendiary powder, which is what I used to use, didn't do as much damage as I wanted it to, so I just went for more crits. And I just use Accelerant Pack turrets, because there's nothing really else here that's going to help me as much as that. And I don't blow them up very often, but when they do explode based on someone hitting them, or if their timers expires, the knockback is really helpful. And yeah, I don't use grenades, so I can't use that, or mines, and don't use elixirs, can't use that. That one is, I did use that for a while, but I roll too much in combat, so I don't keep that anymore. And that one's helpful, but doesn't last long enough, and the cooldown is pretty long. And just for healing skill, I use this because no one ever expects you to have this one. And when you get down to, like 4,000-ish health, it's when you activate it, because it takes a while to activate. And then you get 12,000 health back, and it pisses people off so much. And if you have the heal, where I think it's one of these. Yeah, there we go, automatic metal response. If you use your AED early, before you get below 25% health, generally at around 6, 7-ish, if you're taking lots of damage, and you activate, you can then activate your AED again if you time it correctly. The problem is you can only do this maybe once, twice a round, because the cooldown's pretty long. but it works out pretty well. And then all of my turrets, and this for the stun and for the extra turrets. So because he, oh, I will quickly leave, open the box, and come back, so I can get my daily box. Was the other one was NG and who? NG and Thief. Oh, perfect. Favorite. Sorry. I really like to get a different coat, even though I'd like this coat, but whatever. Do my Mesmer next, I suppose. The class I am the least comfortable with, because I still can't find a build I like, but I'll just explain the one I do use.
And I deserve it too.
The build I have for Mesmer is kind of a condition-based, burst-based debuff kind of thing. I'm just going over here to sell stuff. I use, because I'm going Condi, I use a staff, a scepter, and a torch. And just damage and crits, because I'm trying to crit and do Condi damage. Eagle again, because I'm a damage build. And the Rabbit Amulet. It took me a while to get these into a space that I like them. One sec. Oh, one of those. Took me a while to get these in position I like them, but most of them are illusion-based ones, or, you know, buffing the weapons I do use. You know, so torch skills, more clones, more phantasms, because my main damage source is pretty much this Phantasm Warlock. Because I apply lots of conditions, other people apply lots of conditions. If I get a crit on this, it does really good damage. Then, these. Because they die, clones die pretty quickly, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think this may work if you explode them with F1, or any of their skills. I'm not 100% sure on that. And this so I can have more confusion and more phantasms. It's a pretty basic build, but again, this is the class I'm the least comfortable with. And then Ether Signet, because I think it's the best one, especially if you have lots of illusion summoning skills like these ones. But it has one defender because Mesmers are squishy and I don't have much health. Mirror Image, pretty much the break stun, and if I use an F1, I'll pretty much put this on right after that, and a team support skill. Again, my least comfortable build. I play my Guardian and my Warrior pretty similarly, which is their team support shout-based people. Just my Guardian has a bit more support and my Warrior has more CC. So for my Warrior, here's my build. Use a hammer to knock people back, and this for the staffs for keeping people away with the line skill, and this buff is really nice. And because of my traits, this heals people, which is not that much really, but if you think about it, that's 500 health to stand on, or like 1,000 health to stand on the entire time, so it's pretty strong. Mercy Signet because I'm going to be reviving people faster. And the great thing about this is if you start reviving as soon as someone gets downed and someone's trying to finish them, you will revive them faster than someone who finishes them off. So it's a great way to piss people off when you're doing that. Cleric Signet because I'm doing healing. And pretty much just full toughness and vitality because I'm going full heals. Monk's Focus, this is one of my favorite ones. because I can heal myself twice if I target myself with Merciful Intervention. Great way to heal about 6,000-ish health. Strength in numbers. Toughness is always good. Meditation Mastery, because I'm using meditations and shouts, and it helps this come back sooner. My shouts, because of course I'm using shouts, and Healing Breeze, of course, I'm a heal skill because that allied heal is really nice, especially if I target it, buff it with these things too. All the symbols heal because I use both weapons to do symbols pretty quickly. Pure voice because I'm using shouts, and of course retaliation conscious because retaliation really screws people up if they attack you a lot, and you can survive it. And I know people sometimes don't suggest doing this, but I would always suggest putting at least 1 point in virtue so you can have this. I think this is one of the strongest guardian things. Especially because it applies it to you and all your allies around you, not, so good team support. Because I think that's what Guardian's about, is team support, not bursty burst. Those are my skills. Hold the line, stand your ground, Burst of Intervention and Renewed Focus. Oh, that's the wrong button. Get nothing good today. This is how I get a lot of my tier 6 crafting materials. My ranger build. Oh, this is one I've had trouble with. If you see in videos, you see I swap back and forth on my ranger builds. I used to have a full Condi build on my ranger, but it didn't work as well as I wanted it to, so I just went back to a basic ranged nuking build. Again, I may go back to Condi build eventually, but people seem to hate you a lot more if you do Condi build for some reason. But yeah, because I'm a basic nuking build, I don't want to get close to anybody, because I may have some health, but I have no toughness, so I'll get killed really fast. And just both bows, because people don't expect you to generally have both bows on. Just basic crit damage, or crit chance and damage runes. I could use the lightning strike ones, because a lot of people I see use that, but I prefer the more consistent damage of these ones. And again, because I'm nuking, you just go the power and the precision ones. I could go with the ferocity ones, I suppose. Oh wait, no, that's a different class, my bad. And then these are the ones I use. Steady focus because I shouldn't be needing to dodge because I'm supposed to be far away from people. Our piercing arrows is one I think that's really necessary to have these days, because if you're fighting on a point and you've downed somebody who's behind someone else you're trying to shoot, you can damage them and keep it so they can't heal as easily. Really helpful. I think piercing attacks are really underestimated right now, and it's just great. And this one isn't really as good as I hoped it would be, but it's the best thing I could really put on besides Spotter. And maybe Eagle Eye, but the reason why this is good is because the wolf has that leap that knocks people over, and it's pretty sweet. And it increases my damage, yeah, but people often purge these as soon as they have them because they're devastating in PvP. And Moment Clarity. Interrupts don't generally happen with longbow, shortbow, because you only have two, which is that one and that one. But the times you do get it, really sweet. Damage. Quick draw, because I'm using only bows. Sharpen edges, because bleed is always nice to have, and if you happen to get lucky and get behind someone with crossfire on, you will bleed them in every single shot, pretty much. And oh, it's sweet to get like 10 stacks of bleed on somebody. And survival skill, that's all I'm using besides the signet. Because, again, I want to be far away, so I have to get to the point first to start laying down suppressive fire so people can't cap it as easily. Rampage, just so if someone does get in my face, they can't CC me to death. Quickening Zephyr, so I can just get more damage out. And Mighty Terrain is one I was originally hesitant about using, but because it's got a pretty decent cast range, I can run up to a point, cast on the point, and then run away. Because the constant cripple is really helpful. And heal is one because it's the only decent ranger skill besides healing spring. And it heals more than that quicker, so it's easier for me to survive with it. But again, you could easily build rangers full Condi with traps. That's what I used to do. So much characters in the chat today. And of course, my favorite build, and the one that people complain to me the most about because it's shit, or it doesn't help the team, or it's not ideal, is my Thief Venom Share build. I love this build.
Better than moon loot.
And I think I generally win more often on my NG, but I think it's actually equal between when I win and lose with Thief, or between Thief and NG, because I win a lot when I'm my Thief, and I generally top the board because of all the support I give. But this is my Venom Share build. Like, pretty standard, all the Venoms you really want, plus Basilisk, because giving your entire team free damage, free stuns is ridiculous. And I've had some questions about the weapons I used before. The reason I pretty much always use just a pistol is because I'm not supposed to be close range stabbing people up, because this applies all my poisons just fine, and when I get stealth with Cloak and Dagger, I can shoot 5 times, which will give full stacks of all my Venoms, regardless of what one I'm trying to use, on somebody, and that's a lot of stacks of Torment, which is my favorite one. And what's great about this build is because I give everyone around me these, as long as they have it on when they hit somebody, and if you've seen my videos, you've seen the numbers across the map that I like to point out. If they get a kill, as long as that has affected them recently, I get credit for it, which is why I get so many lovely points when I'm playing my Thief. But what's great about this is the siphon damage. I'm fairly certain this works on teammates too, but if not, it just makes me tanky as hell. All the procs of the poisons, even my healing one, heals whoever applied the poison. Giving your entire team healing and damage is really strong, and I don't understand how people think it's really shitty. But Nightmare, because I'm doing condition duration. And I use the Rune of Nightmare because that fear is really strong if another thief jumps on my face. Because 50% to get struck for 1 second. If they hit me 3 times, which what most thieves are going to do when they jump on your face, especially if they have Basilisk Venom, you'll be stunned, and then they'll be feared away. By the time the fear wears off, you'll be back in the fight, and then you can just start laying down your Basilisk Venom. But, you know, just standard runes to increase Venom's usefulness, which is poison and damage. Because, sorry, I have no crits, I have no ferocity, all I'm doing is just base attack damage. So that I hit as hard as I can with the Venoms that I have on. And then, of course, the Carrying Amulet, because I'm doing condition damage, and I'm supposed to be tanky-ish. Again, one of the great things about this build is because I'm a thief, and people can see I'm a thief, they focus me because the thing when to try to crit them in the face to death. If you focus me, that's great. I may get down, but my entire team has free damage that they're going to then turn onto you. And then, these are my traits. Again, duration. Condition duration is all I'm going for pretty much, because I want these to last as long as possible to get the most amount of damage you can have, and so all my teammates get the boost as well. And I pretty much just go stealing and venom duration increases. And the reason why I have Mug is because the 2000 healing on Mug has saved my life so many times. and because I have down here, oh wait, where is it? Yeah, Serpent's Touch. Oh wow, people underestimate how much damage this does, and how much healing it can give you if you spec into it. And then I just get Cloak and Shadow, so that when I do this, I can blind people so they can't hit me as much. Legion Venoms to make me tanky as hell, and some of my Venoms do additional damage on top of all their impressive condition damage. And of course, Venomous Aura, my favorite trait. And these are just so when I'm running away, I can get some additional damage on people. Again, my favorite build. People complain at me all the time at it and say I'm shitty. Say I don't know how to build, but it works for me, and it works for it works for my team I'm with pretty much. So they can go and suck a massive dick. Mr. What's his face Casual from last time. God, I hate that guy. Oops, I forgot to stay in the mist. I'll get that later. Warrior build. Nearly finished.
You rarely see me those.
Whoops, that's the wrong weapon. There we go. I used my warrior build as a pretty standard support build. At least I think it's pretty standard. I used to use the banners that heal people. They're good, but they don't do enough. Unfortunately, they work great in PvE, but they don't do enough in PvP. So again, Mercy, because I'm going to be reviving people. Cleric Amulet, pretty standard. The runes are a bit different though. That chance to heal is just so I can give as much heals as I can. Frailty again, I'm trying to support my team as much as I can. My favorite thing about Warrior though is all the CC I have, because I have 1, 2, 3, 4 ways to stop you doing something. And what's great about Fear Me is that if I'm standing on the middle of a point and people are right next to me, I can fear them off the point, which gives me sometimes just enough time to finish capping it. And then of course, on my mark to give my team more damage, disruption, keep me alive, and revive people. People really underestimate how I can revive, how much reviving someone with nearly full health because of my Mercy Signet really does for people. And the builds are pretty standard. I'm going full tank as much as I can. Missile deflection, because even this one, the base block, as long as you don't hit in melee combat, you'll keep blocking because it only counterattacks on a melee attack. And as long as you're blocking, and someone's in range of you that's shooting arrows at you, like a ranger, for example, you can deflect all the arrows from back at their face. But if you have to, you just block stance. It's the wrong button. Cleansing Ire, because conditions suck, and I have no way to purge them except for using my adrenaline, because I don't have the mending. So many characters. Spiked Armor, because Retaliation is amazing, and as you can see, it lasts 6.5 seconds with a 10-second cooldown, which essentially means I have a deflection on nearly all the time. And oh my god, I've had so many people kill themselves by hitting me, it's fantastic. And then just vigorous shouts, because I need shouts to heal. Empowered allies, because more damage, even more support, and reduced capacity on shouts. And this, because I want to be able to make it to the point first, so I can start locking it down, making it so my team can get there to support me. But I want to be first. The people waste all their shit on me, and not on the damage coming behind me. Again, pretty simple support build. It works out really well for me, mainly because of Fear Me is fantastic for getting people off the point, and for stopping the reviving people, which is great. Really makes you pissed at you if you stop them reviving someone just before they're about to be revived. Just Ellie and Necro left, I believe. This is a great way to get occasional repairs when you're leveling up like one guy or using one person to get them more skill points in the world or trying to world completion. Just stick everyone else at the end of a jumping puzzle. Free crap, essentially. That's the wrong button. I'm not sure if I have a special name for this build, but I like to call it, Fuck You Guardians, because of this one. But, it's pretty much a full Condi build. I'm trying to just boost bleeding and poison and bleeding and poison as much as I can. Rampager's Amulet, because crits plus lots of damage plus Condi is the max damage you can do, essentially. Afflicted because more bleeding and poison duration. Oh, I love bleeding and poison. And because Death Nova, when you're down, if they're right next to you, does a lot of good damage. And because Necros already have fantastic downed moves, you can... The only person you can't beat when you're both down is a Ranger, that they can get their healing thing, because they'll heal faster than you do, unfortunately. But any other class you can probably pretty much kill with, unless they're like a warrior or something. But pretty decent full full Condi build. Oh, that's the wrong skill. Hold on. I used to use focus. That's the wrong skill. There we go, just embrace. And Spinal Shivers, you know, just so that if it happens to be a Guardian that puts all their stupid boons on when they're getting ready to do something, I just remove 3 of them. And Close to Death because, yay, free damage. I may actually change this around because I recently found out that this doesn't work on your conditions, but I don't want that because that's not going to heal me enough. And I don't dash out enough for that. And Lingering Curse because if you're using Condi, you need this because, as you can see, if I can get a full combo off on you, you're going to take 3,000 damage eventually. And what's great thing about that is because if I put this and this and this on you, unless you purge it, you're going to die eventually. It's fantastic. And Master Corruption because we need corruption skills. And Hemophobia because we more bleed duration. More bleeds. And Fear of Death because with the Death Nova, you're really dangerous when you're downed, especially because I put the correct skill on now. And because I'm using corruptions, this is the best one to have. And because people apply corruptions to you, conditions to you, so you can just turn it around and give yourself full health. Lotus Power because it gives you lots of free damage at not much damage to you, really, only 4,000. You can easily just purge with this, or purge by going into Death Shroud. Well, not purge, but essentially stop it taking your health away. Sleep on Locust because I want to run faster. And you may wonder why I have these in the spots I do. It's because I find it easier to hit my F5 key, or my mouse 5 key, and I always have had it there. And Corrupt Boon because that's my favorite move in the game. Because I love seeing a Guardian with stability and regeneration and protection, and I turn it into Vulnerability, Fear, and, you know, chill. And then they die. And Plague because... Oh, that's the wrong seal. Where's my list form? There we go. Sorry, I flip around occasionally, but List Form because List Form is still like one of the most broken skills in the game, I think. Because it makes me crit. I think I have 110% crit chance with that on. So I crit every single time. And because it does, I do about 3,000 damage every auto attack. And then I just put on all the sigils on the ground and then you're pretty much dead. The problem with List Form is that my build doesn't really take advantage of it because I'm mostly condition damage, which is why I swap off between that and Plague, depending on how I feel that day. Plague is good for point defense because of this one, people really underestimate how good blinding is all the time, because you can pretty much deny someone killing you while you're trying to defend a point. And 40,000 health is hard to break through for most classes. Again, so a Necro County build essentially is what I use, and we just got one left. Which is another one of my favorite builds that Mr. Casual Pants from last time called me terrible for using, because I don't use Celestial Double Daggers for my NG, because I'd rather do something useful like point defense rather than just killing people as fast as possible. I really hate people who think that you can only build one way. It's so frustrating. I think I'm just gonna go to bed after this. It's what, 5 a.m.? Yeah, I'm just gonna go to sleep after this. My LA build is centered around staff and AoE, sweet AoE and crits, and summonables, and storms, because this covers pretty much all of the points, no matter what you're tuned to, except the giant points in the forest map. And people underestimate how much damage this does, especially if my favorite way to screw with people is to do sandstorm, because blindness. People really underestimate blindness and free bleeds. But it's, as you can see, it's sigil based or glyph based AoE Ellie build that's focused on crit, damage, and ferocity. Root of the Ogre, because I need power, ferocity, and free damage. The Rock Dog is okay. It bleeds people, so I think it gets a boost for that for my stats, but it's not the main focus of why I use that rune. It's for the free damage. Again, just damage and crit, because that's what I'm focusing on. Full fire, full air, and 2 in Arcana. Just for blasting stuff, because more AoE, more AoE. Clap, clap, clap. As you can see, these are kind of in the opposite direction, because I look at the best one I can get in each tier. The problem with Ellie, which is why I have this skill on, is you get downed a lot because you're fragile as hell, and this takes a long time to activate. So why not increase your damage when you're downed? I can crit really hard with the one skill in Ellie and kill people in about 4 hits generally. And if I manage to stay down long enough, to stay alive when I'm down long enough to get 3 active, I can really crush your health with extra damage when you're downed. Eternal Fire, because Firestorm, Meteor Showers are my main way to defend points, and if I get lucky with how they fall down, I can kill you in about 2 impacts, 3 or 4 impacts of Meteor Shower. And then Burning Precision, because I'm critting a lot on no matter what I use. And Glyphs, because I'm using Glyphs. Inscriptions, because I'm using Glyphs. And Bolt of the Heart, because more damage. The hardest part of being an Ellie is, even if you're a staff Ellie, it's still important, is to swap out whenever you're really defined defense at something. Because generally you want to start out on fire. Well, you start the master course on air to give your team speed. You either rush the point with air on or fire on if you think people are going to reach it after you get there. Or earth, really. Well, the problem is that each max skill, each skill really in each tree gives you some way to stop them getting on the point. Fire is just the most easy to see one, because you're making a damage field that they may be hesitant to get into. Water I save if I'm actually on a point and trying to hold it, because I just run around in circles spawning these things over and over again. So it's harder for them to actually take it from me. Because it doesn't give you much healing, but it sometimes just gives you enough for your team to arrive. And then of course, if rangers are on your ass, you just do that. For reflecting projectiles. Again, a lot of staff defense, if you're on the point, is spawning these over and over again. and unsteady ground to try to trip people up if they walk over it and things like that. Fire is great, but if you're on the point, this takes way too long to cast, and you will be killed while you're casting it. This is for if you're off the point, putting stuff on it. And yeah, so again, you can play it as you like. That's just how I like to play it. And Firestorm, Lesser Elementals, speed, because I want to get to the point first to put down unsteady ground or the static field, and then Glyph Elementals so I can get 2 stunnables out, because both of them do good damage together, especially if you summon 2 fires or 2 electrics. So yeah, that's my build. That's my builds for all my classes, I suppose. Most of them I have a good deal if that's what I like, except for Mesmer, because I'm still working on that. But there you go. Hope that was informative for you. If you have any questions, you could just ask me again, and I'll try to clarify for you. Sorry if this is a bit quick. It is 5 a.m. and I wanted to do this earlier, but I was busy. But hopefully that helps.